Welcome to the second video in my Birthday 2019 series. After arriving at Narita with Cathay Pacific, my journey continued to Shanghai Pudong with Japan Airlines on JL873. Japan Airlines uses Terminal 2 as well, the one used by oneworld airlines. There were two types of priority check-in counters available to me, the business class counters and the Sapphire members counters. It seems that JAL values their loyal members more than their business class passengers, as the Sapphire counters looked more modern and better furnished than the business class ones. After a very efficient check-in, I headed to the security check. The queues at the regular security check counters were quite long, but a fast-track one was available. This JAL fast security lane only invites its first class and its high elite tier passengers, but not its business class passengers. Although the sign does not feature oneworld logos, I was able to use this fast security lane as a Cathay Pacific Gold member. Narita is the airport with the most oneworld lounges, and today I planned to visit all of them. First stop was the Japan Airlines lounge, which was just in front of the passport control. Because part of the lounge was closed for renovation, access was limited only to passengers flying JAL. The lounge was separated into two, the first class lounge on the left and the Sakura lounge on the right. I took the escalator on the right, which led me to the Sakura lounge. The lounge was big but quite empty, probably because it was still too early. There were some self-served alcohol and drinks in this lobby. Some chairs were facing the apron with a great view of the aircrafts. The dining area was on the upper floor up this set of staircase. Many guests were enjoying the breakfast. Both international and Japanese breakfasts were served, but since I was still too full after dining on board the Cathay flight from Hong Kong, I only had a small portion of a Japanese dish. The second lounge I visited was of course that of my favorite airline, Cathay Pacific. Unfortunately, the furnishing of the lounge was quite outdated, and indeed it was the most disappointing lounge of all. There also was an atomic view from the lounge. For food, there was a small buffet area with simple breakfast options. I stayed here only for a short while.
There is no boarding announcement. Please watch your time. Wi-Fi is available. No password needed.
The first stop was the Admirals Club by American Airlines. The view from the lounge was the best in my opinion. You can have a full view over the whole tarmac and the satellite building. The furnishing of the lounge looked a bit similar to that of the Japan Airlines lounge, looking beautiful and modern. As for the food, the dishes looked similar to those served in the JAL lounge. Maybe both lounges were managed by the same company. I then proceeded to the satellite building from where my flight was to depart. The Qantas lounge was located there, but very sadly, the staff refused to let me in due to an Australian law forbidding unaccompanied young travelers in lounges that serve alcohol. My Boeing 787-9 had already arrived at Gate 91. It was my first time traveling not just on Japan Airlines but also on a Dreamliner, and I was extremely excited. oneworld members boarded ahead of business class and Sapphire members. And although oneworld doesn't require airlines to provide priority boarding for Ruby passengers, JAL allowed Ruby passengers to board together with business class passengers. The aircraft had a free class configuration, but premium economy class was sold as economy class on today's flight. Once on board, cabin crew began to give out eye masks, toothbrushes, and earplugs. And then almost out of nowhere, a cabin crew came to my seat and wished me a happy birthday in Chinese. She presented me with a red bag with some sweets and a toy airplane, and a birthday card. It's time to push back, let's wave goodbye, and thank you Tokyo. Business class on JAL's Dreamliner used Sky Suite Free. The seats were in a 1-to-1 layout, giving each passenger direct aisle access. The window seats had a high degree of privacy as they faced towards the window. The middle seats pointed towards each other and seemed ideal for family and friends. A partition could also be raised in case you didn't know the person sitting next to you. Behind the main business class cabin, there was a smaller back business cabin and a premium economy cabin. On today's flight, these two cabins were all ticketed as economy class. On the Sky Suite Free, you can adjust this reading lamp direction. There's also a cabinet for storage, and there's a mirror on the cabinet door. Below the cabinet, there are USB ports, an electric socket, and the headphone jack. The table is fixed on the wall of the seat and you can pull it down when needed. You can also store some handy items under the armrest, and the fact that it could be lowered means you can easily get out of your seat. The seat can be adjusted by the main control panel, and an instruction card is there to introduce the functions of the seat to you. Each seat was preset with a pair of slippers, a blanket, a headset, and a menu. However, the TV system in my seat was malfunctioning, and the crew couldn't fix it, so they moved me to another seat. The electrically controlled window looked fancy at first glance, but I didn't like it as it took absolutely ages to go from light to dark. It was soon time for the meal service. Lunch was served on this flight and there was an option between the Japanese menu and the Western menu, and I had the former. Inside the snacks box, there were tuna sashimi, soy simmered beef, vinegar radish with salmon roe, peas dried tofu, and a crab meat and prawn-based dish. The main course today was a yellowtail teriyaki with grilled chicken. Miso soup, steamed rice, and a packet of nuts were served alongside. I also ordered the JAL original drink, Sky Time Kiwi, to accompany my meal. As for dessert, there was vanilla Haagen-Dazs ice cream, served together with a cup of Japanese green tea. The washrooms on this aircraft looked modern and clean. Japanese washlets were installed. Knowing that Japanese people like to brush their teeth after meals, toothbrushes were placed next to the sink for passengers. After brushing my teeth, I reclined my seat slightly into a TV watching position. I am sad to say, I didn't really find the shows to my liking, and the TV system seemed extremely troublesome. The TV screen wasn't a touch screen, and it had to be controlled by the remote control, and the interface was quite user-friendly.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be landing in about 35 minutes.
Soon after, the cabin crew returned with my flight log, and inside there was a birthday message written in 3 different languages. Let me summarize my first experience with Japan Airlines. The cabin crew were friendly and polite, and they demonstrated their Japanese hospitality to passengers. For the seats, they were not as wide on JAL as on Cathay, but they were still quite comfortable. For the meal, I have to say the food looked better than it tasted. The TV system was also a nightmare, unless you have very high EQ. Otherwise, I think you will certainly feel frustrated with it. As for the 787-9 aircraft, it was extremely quiet. However, I must point out the pointlessness of installing electric window shades. It took way too long for it to turn dark. Conventional window shades are better in my opinion. Overall, I would say my experience was a good one.
现在当地的时间是中午的12:05，请您在系好安全带的指示灯熄灭之前不要离开您的座位。
That's all for today. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. The last video of this series will be a Cathay Dragon flight from Shanghai back to Hong Kong. Stay tuned and see you next time.